He risked his life for her, and the alien queen gave the order, "I will marry you to my daughter." None, however, could prepare him for Violia, a world of deep forests, crystal rivers, and skies that shimmered in colors no human eye had seen before. He had arrived as part of a diplomatic mission, tasked with observing the planet and reporting on the intelligent species rumored to inhabit it. The Violians were a proud, intelligent race. Legends described them as tall, with skin that glowed faintly under their planet's twin moons. They were known for advanced technology and strict social structures. For Jard, meeting them was a chance to learn, to observe, and perhaps to build bridges for humanity's future. Jard stepped out of the sleek silver shuttle, feeling the soft moss under his boots. The air was rich with strange scents, a mix of flowers and minerals, and the sky above shimmered in hues of violet and gold. Ahead, a group of Violian observers watched silently, their large, expressive eyes taking in every movement. "Stay calm," Jard muttered to himself. "They are intelligent. They are not here to hurt you, probably." As he approached, the Violian leader, a tall figure with flowing robes that reflected the light like liquid silver, nodded gracefully. "Welcome, human," the figure said, their voice melodic and soothing. "I am Thalira, Queen of Violia. Your people are far from home." "We observe you with curiosity," Jard bowed slightly, careful not to seem too eager. "I am honored, Your Majesty. I am here as a friend and as a student of your world." Thalira's eyes gleamed. "Your kind has courage, that is clear, but courage is tested here." Before Jard could ask what she meant, a sudden, sharp cry echoed through the forest. It was not human. It was higher-pitched, melodic, almost like singing, but it carried a note of terror. Jard's heart leapt. From the shadows of the towering, bioluminescent trees, a figure ran toward them. It was Leora, the queen's daughter. She was smaller than Jard expected, with eyes like liquid silver and hair that shimmered like spun moonlight. But she was clearly in danger. Behind her, enormous predators, creatures that seemed like a cross between a wolf and a reptile, emerged, snapping and hissing. Their glowing teeth made Jard's stomach clench. Without thinking, Jard sprinted forward. The humans with him froze, unsure what to do. But Jard had no time to consider. He grabbed a nearby energy blaster from his belt, aiming carefully at the closest predator. A bright beam of light shot out, hitting the creature squarely. It yelped and fell back, stunned. "Run!" Jard shouted to Leora. The young Violian hesitated, glancing at him with a mix of fear and confusion. But Jard grabbed her hand firmly. "Trust me, now!" Together they ran through the glowing forest. The predators pursued, their speed terrifying. Jard knew he couldn't rely on human weapons alone. They would be surrounded if he didn't act quickly. Spotting a narrow canyon ahead, he veered toward it, hoping the creatures would be slowed by the uneven terrain. Leora stumbled, and Jard caught her just in time. "I've got you." "Keep moving," he urged. Her hands were cold in his, but there was a determination in her gaze that surprised him. They reached the canyon, and Jard used a small, experimental device from his pocket. It emitted a high-frequency pulse, stunning the predators temporarily. They fell to the ground with sharp, pained cries. Jard exhaled, heart hammering. "That should give us a little breathing room." Leora looked at him, her eyes wide. You risked yourself for me." "I couldn't leave you there," Jard said honestly. "No one deserves to be hunted like that." The canyon led to a narrow cliff overlooking a crystal river below. Jard carefully guided Leora down, using the harness on his suit. The river's waters shimmered with a strange, soft light, making the falls seem almost magical. But Jard focused on the task at hand, keeping them both safe. Finally, they reached the riverbank. Both were breathing heavily. Jard glanced around. The predators had stopped following. The pulse device had bought them enough time to escape. "You are safe for now," Jard said, trying to sound calm, but even he felt the adrenaline leaving his body, leaving him exhausted. Leora stood, brushing dirt from her clothes. "You are remarkable," she said softly. "No human has ever come this far without permission." Jard smiled faintly. "I guess I just don't like seeing anyone in danger." Before they could speak more, a hovering vehicle descended from the sky. Queen Thalira herself appeared, her robe flowing around her like liquid starlight. Her eyes were sharp, filled with both relief and curiosity. "Jard Kellen," she said, her voice calm but commanding, "you have done something no human has done before. You risked your life for a Violian. That is unusual." Jard bowed slightly. "I did what I felt was right, Your Majesty. I could not leave her in danger." The queen stepped closer, examining him. Her eyes lingered on the pulse device, then on the human's steady hands. Brave, clever, compassionate. Your kind is small, but perhaps not insignificant. Leora stepped forward, hesitating. Mother, he saved me. Queen Thalira's expression softened. Indeed, my daughter, and that is why. She paused, looking at Jard with an intensity that made his stomach tighten. You shall be honored in ways you cannot yet understand. Jard swallowed nervously. Honored how, your majesty? Thalira did not answer immediately. Instead, she gestured for them to return to the palace. You will rest, human, but tomorrow your courage will be recognized publicly. As Jard followed the queen and Leora through the glowing forests, he realized that nothing about this mission had been ordinary. He had expected diplomacy, observation, perhaps minor danger. But risking his life to save someone, that had set in motion events far larger than he could imagine. The palace rose before them like a fortress of crystal and light. Its walls shimmered with strange energy, and soft music, alien but beautiful, filled the air. Jard could see Virelan guards moving gracefully, almost floating, their weapons sheathed. Leora walked beside him silently, her gaze on the palace but occasionally glancing at him. Inside, they were led to a chamber that looked like a cross between a throne room and a garden. Exotic plants grew in every corner, and streams of glowing water ran along the floor. Jard tried to take it all in, but his attention kept returning to Leora. She looked small yet powerful, like someone who belonged to this world entirely but was learning about his at the same time. Queen Thalira entered after them, her presence commanding silence. Tomorrow, she said, the court will witness your actions. Humanity's place among Virelia will be judged not by words but by courage. Jard nodded, though uncertainty twisted in his chest. He had no idea what the queen meant by judged, but he sensed it was more than a simple ceremony. That night, Jard could not sleep. He lay on a soft mat in the chamber, listening to the strange sounds of Virelia, the hum of energy, the rustling of alien leaves, and the occasional soft call of distant creatures. Leora sat across from him, sketching images of the forest in a small, glowing tablet. You don't understand what you did, she said quietly, not looking up. No human has ever risked themselves for a Virelian in the wilds before. You changed something. Jard looked at her, tired but determined. Maybe that's what humans are good at, he said simply. Courage. Taking risks, protecting others. Leora finally looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the soft light of the chamber. Perhaps that is why my mother will take notice. Jard frowned, a sense of foreboding settling over him. Take notice of me. You will see tomorrow, she said, returning to her sketches, what it means to act with courage in a world that is not your own. Outside, the twin moons of Virelia hung low in the sky, casting a soft glow over the palace. Jard knew that his life had just taken a turn he could not yet understand. And deep down, he wondered, what did it mean for a human to earn the respect of an alien queen? For now, all he could do was wait for the dawn, wait for the judgment. And hope that his courage, simple as it was, would be enough to face whatever the alien world had planned next. The sun of Virelia rose slowly, casting the crystal palace in soft gold and violet light. Jard Kellen woke to the gentle hum of the palace, an alien melody that vibrated through the walls. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the room. The air was rich with the scent of flowers he did not recognize. Leora was already awake, sitting on the edge of a glowing fountain, her eyes fixed on the water as if it held some secret. Good morning, Jard said cautiously, trying not to disturb her. I didn't know you were an early riser. Leora looked at him and smiled faintly. I did not sleep well, too many thoughts about what you did yesterday. Her silver eyes reflected the soft light like mirrors. I am not used to seeing humans act without fear or without expectation, Jard shrugged. I didn't think, I just acted, that's all. Leora shook her head. No, you are brave, Jard. Your actions, they mean more than you realize. Before Jard could respond, a melodic voice echoed through the chamber. You are awake, I see. Queen Thalira entered, her presence filling the room. Jard rose immediately. The queen's glowing eyes studied him carefully. Human, she said, her voice both gentle and commanding. Yesterday you did something remarkable. You risked your life for my daughter. Jard swallowed. I did what anyone should do. Thalira's eyes narrowed slightly and a small smile touched her lips. No human has ever done what you did. Your courage, it is unusual. Perhaps it is time for a bold step, one that will surprise both Virelia and your world. Jard frowned. A bold step. The queen walked toward Leora and took her hand. Leora, you witnessed the bravery of this human. His actions have proven he is more than your kind expects. He has qualities that could strengthen the bond between our species. Leora's eyes widened, and she glanced at Jard. Bond, what do you mean, mother? Thalira turned to Jard. Tomorrow, at the public ceremony, I will declare your role among us. You will not only be honored, but— She paused, letting her words settle. You will be married to my daughter. Jard's jaw dropped. Married. To her, Leora gasped softly. Mother! The queen raised her hand, and both remained silent. This is not a decision made lightly. It is a gesture to show trust between our species. Humans are small, but you have shown that size is not a measure of value. Courage, loyalty, and cleverness are what matter. Jard's mind raced. He had expected honor, maybe a medal, perhaps a formal ceremony, but marriage, with an alien princess. I don't know what to say, he admitted honestly. You need not speak now, Thalira replied. You will learn the customs. You will understand the responsibility. But know this, your actions have given humanity a place in Violia that no words could achieve. Leora looked at Jard, her expression a mixture of awe and uncertainty. I never thought such things would happen, she said softly. I am grateful, but this is sudden. Jard nodded. Yes, I didn't expect it either, but if it helps build trust, if it keeps your people safe, I will do what I must. The queen regarded him closely. Good. That is all I require, courage tempered by wisdom. After a moment, Thalira stepped back and gestured for them to follow. Come, you must prepare for the ceremony. The court will witness your bravery and decide how humanity is to be regarded in our world. As they walked through the palace corridors, Jard noticed the walls pulsing softly with alien energy. The air was alive with a strange warmth, and streams of glowing water ran along the floors. Leora walked beside him, her hand brushing his occasionally. Do you understand what this means? She asked quietly. Jard shook his head. Not fully. I know it's important. I know I have to be careful, but I also know I can't fail for you, for your people, or for mine. Leora nodded slowly. I see that. That is why I trust you. They entered a large chamber where dozens of Violians were already gathered. Some were adorned in flowing robes, their eyes curious, others watched silently, their expressions neutral. The air was thick with anticipation. Jard felt his heart pound. The queen stepped forward. Today, we honor a human who has shown courage and wisdom. Jard Kellen, your actions in the wilds have proven that humans are capable of more than we believed. You risked your life to save my daughter, and for that, you shall be recognized. A ripple of whispers passed through the court. Jard could see nobles exchanging glances, some intrigued, others suspicious. He took a deep breath. Thank you, your majesty. I only acted as I believed was right. Thalira's gaze was steady. And that is why I declare you the chosen companion of my daughter, Leora. Together, your bond will symbolize a new era for Violia and Earth. You shall marry her not as a token, but as a partner in strength, wisdom, and courage. A stunned silence fell. Jard felt Leora's hand brush against his again, this time with more certainty. Her eyes, wide and silver, searched his face. Jard, are you willing? Jard hesitated. I will do everything I can to honor this. Not just for ceremony, but for the friendship, trust, and respect it represents. The queen nodded approvingly. Good. Let this union begin not only with ceremony, but with understanding. Jard Kellen, you must learn our ways, our customs, and our challenges. Only then will you truly be worthy of trust, Jard bowed. I will do my best, your majesty. The ceremony itself was unlike anything he had seen. Violian light flowed over the room, illuminating everyone in soft gold and violet. Leora and Jard stood side by side before the queen. As she spoke, Jard felt a deep sense of responsibility. He realized that this marriage was not merely a personal honor, it was a symbol of unity, courage, and hope for both worlds. After the ceremony, Thalira motioned for Jard and Leora to follow her to a private chamber. You must begin your lessons immediately, the queen said. Leora will guide you, but you will also face trials designed to test your courage, wisdom, and understanding of Violian culture. Jard swallowed nervously. Trials? What kind of trials? Thalira smiled faintly. Physical, mental, and moral. You will learn not only how to survive in our world, but how to lead alongside Leora. You must understand our people fully if this alliance is to succeed. Leora stepped forward, a serious expression on her face. I will help you. But you must understand, Jard, Violians value more than strength. We value insight, patience, and respect for our traditions. You must learn these things quickly. Jard nodded. I understand. I will try my best. Their first trial began at dawn the next day. Jard was led to a dense forest, where the trees were taller than any he had seen, and the leaves shimmered in colors he could not name. Strange creatures moved among the branches, watching silently. Leora explained that he would have to navigate the forest, avoid predators, and reach a central clearing where a symbolic object awaited, a crystal representing the trust of the Virelian people. Jard felt a mix of fear and excitement. The forest was alive with movement, the air thick with alien scents. He followed Leora, carefully observing her movements. She moved with grace, almost floating over the terrain. Jard realized that understanding her and her ways would be as important as physical skill. As they reached the first checkpoint, a low growl echoed behind them. Jard turned sharply to see a predator, smaller than the ones he had faced before, stalking toward them. His pulse quickened. He remembered the device he had used before, but he also knew relying on technology alone would not earn the trust of the Virelians. He took a deep breath, focusing on the predator's movements. With careful steps, he led it away from Leora, using a combination of distraction and quick thinking. The creature hesitated, then retreated into the shadows. Leora looked at him, impressed. You are learning quickly, she said softly. You may survive this forest yet. Jard smiled, exhausted but determined. I'll survive for both our worlds. As they approached the central clearing, Jard noticed several nobles watching from a distance. He knew that every action was being observed. Every decision mattered. This trial was more than survival. It was proof that humans could be trusted allies. When they reached the crystal, Jard carefully approached and touched it. A wave of light washed over him, symbolizing acceptance by the forest and, by extension, the Virelian people. Leora's hand brushed his again, a silent acknowledgement of respect and growing friendship. As they returned to the palace, Jard realized that his life had changed completely. He was no longer merely a human observer. He was a symbol of courage, a bridge between worlds, and a partner to someone he deeply respected. That night, as he lay in his chamber, he reflected on the events of the day. He had faced danger, learned lessons of trust and patience, and begun to understand the responsibility placed upon him. He knew that more challenges awaited, trials that would test not only his skill but his heart. But for the first time in his life, Jard felt a sense of purpose that went beyond survival. He was part of something greater, something that could unite two worlds. And he was ready to face whatever came next, with courage, wisdom, and the trust of the Virelians by his side. The morning sun spilled its soft light over the palace of Virelia. Jard Kellen awoke with a sense of both excitement and unease. Today was the day his second trial would begin, a trial designed to test his mind, his morals, and his understanding of Virelian culture. Yesterday's forest trial had been physical, a test of courage and quick thinking. Today, he was told, would challenge him in ways humans rarely encountered. Leora was already waiting for him outside the chamber, her silver eyes bright with purpose. You are ready, she said simply, her voice calm, or at least as ready as you will ever be. Jard rubbed his eyes. I hope so. I learned a lot yesterday, but I don't know if that is enough. Leora smiled faintly. It is never enough. That is why we learn and we adapt. Follow me. They walked together through the palace corridors, passing streams of glowing water and corridors alive with soft light. Jard had begun to notice that the palace seemed to breathe, as if the walls themselves were alive. Every step echoed softly, and the air vibrated with a gentle hum. He couldn't help but marvel at the world he had entered. Their destination was the Hall of Mirrors, a massive chamber filled with reflective surfaces, each showing not just the person standing before it, but glimpses of possible choices, possible actions, and possible consequences. Leora explained that the hall was used to test one's moral decisions. Here, she said, you will face situations where right and wrong are not clear. Your choices will be observed by the elders, and your decisions will show whether you are worthy of trust. Jard nodded, swallowing his nerves. He had faced danger in the wild, but this was something different. This was mental, emotional, and ethical. He would have to rely on judgment and empathy, not just reflexes or weapons. As they stepped into the hall, the mirrors shimmered, and a soft, melodic voice filled the room. Jard Kellen, you will face the trial of choices. Your path will be tested. Choose wisely, for your actions reflect not only upon yourself but upon your species. The first scenario appeared in a mirror before him. It showed a small village under attack by rogue predators, similar to those he had seen in the forest. Innocent Violians, including children and elders, were trapped. Jard's mind raced. He could take direct action, risking himself to save them, or attempt to find a clever, indirect solution that minimized danger. He studied the scene carefully. The creatures were sensitive to light and sound. Using this knowledge, he manipulated the mirrors to reflect a bright beam across the predator's path, confusing them long enough to allow the villagers to escape. The mirrors shimmered, showing the villagers thanking him, their trust in him growing. "Good," Leora said softly. "You are learning that courage is not always strength. Sometimes it is strategy and wisdom." The next scenario appeared. This time it showed a situation in the palace. A group of human observers had accidentally broken a Violian artifact, a delicate crystal that held cultural significance. Some nobles demanded punishment, while others suggested understanding. Jard was asked to decide. He took a deep breath. Punishing humans would cause distrust. They are not malicious. They are ignorant. I will suggest teaching them our ways, showing the value of the artifact, and ensuring respect without harm. The mirrors reflected nods of approval from the Violian elders. "Wisdom," the voice said, "you are beginning to understand the subtleties of our society." Jard realized that these trials were more than tests. They were lessons, shaping him into someone who could bridge two worlds. He was learning that humanity's greatest strengths, creativity, compassion, and courage, could be amplified when combined with understanding of others. The third scenario was the most challenging. It presented Jard with a moral dilemma. A Violian noble had secretly stolen supplies meant for a village in need. Confronting the noble directly could cause political conflict, but ignoring the act would harm innocents. Jard considered carefully. Direct confrontation might provoke hostility, but indirect action could be clever. He decided to create a plan. He would reveal the truth in a council setting, emphasizing the welfare of the village, while framing the revelation in a way that allowed the noble to save face. The mirrors shimmered again, showing the noble accepting responsibility gracefully, the village receiving aid, and Jard's judgment praised. Leora's eyes shone with admiration. "You see, Jard, understanding hearts, not just actions, is the key." Hours passed, and the hall continued to present new challenges. Complex puzzles, scenarios of trust, and situations requiring negotiation with alien species whose motives were not always clear. Jard applied everything he had learned, sometimes relying on logic, sometimes intuition, and sometimes the guidance of Leora. By mid-afternoon, Jard's body ached, but his mind felt alive. Each trial had strengthened him, tested him, and taught him lessons about empathy, courage, and diplomacy. Leora led him to a final chamber where a large crystal floated above a pedestal. "This," she said, "represents the heart of trust. Only those who have learned balance, wisdom, and courage may touch it." Jard stepped forward cautiously. His hand hovered over the crystal. He thought of the forest, the queen, Leora, and the trials he had faced. He realized that trust was fragile, requiring care, honesty, and courage. With that understanding, he touched the crystal. A warm glow spread through him, and he felt a connection, not just to Leora, but to the Violian people. "Congratulations," the melodic voice said. "You have passed the trial of choices. You have shown courage, wisdom, and understanding. You are worthy of trust, not only in deeds, but in heart." Jard exhaled, feeling both relief and pride. Leora smiled at him. "You did well. The elders will respect your actions. You have proven that humanity can be trusted." But their relief was short-lived. As they left the hall, a messenger approached quickly, his expression urgent. "Your Majesty," he said to Thalira, "we have reports of unrest among certain nobles. They do not accept the human presence. They speak of rebellion if the trials continue." The queen's expression darkened. "I expected as much. Courage is not enough when hearts are unwilling to accept change." She turned to Jard. "Your trials are not over. You must now face challenges not only of skill and judgment, but of diplomacy. Some will resist you, even as they watch your every move." Jard nodded, determination hardening his expression. "I will do what is necessary, Your Majesty. For you, for Leora, for your people, and for mine." Leora's hand brushed his arm. "I believe in you, Jard. You have shown not only courage, but insight. We will face this together." Over the next few days, Jard faced multiple smaller trials designed to test his adaptability. He learned the subtle gestures of respect in Virelan culture, the importance of patience in negotiations, and the value of observing before acting. Each trial was watched closely by the court, and whispers spread. The human was clever, wise, and courageous. One afternoon, while walking through the palace gardens with Leora, Jard noticed a group of nobles speaking in low, urgent tones. He could not understand their language, but their expressions and gestures were clear. Leora noticed his attention. "They are discussing you," she said quietly. "Some fear what humans represent, others are curious. You must remain cautious." "I understand," Jard said, "but I cannot let fear guide my actions. I must act with fairness, wisdom, and courage." Leora nodded. "Then you are already halfway there. The rest will come with time and experience." As the sun set over Virlia, casting the palace in hues of violet and gold, Jard reflected on everything he had learned. The trials were not merely tests, they were lessons. They had taught him that courage without understanding was incomplete, and wisdom without courage was powerless. Trust, he realized, was the most valuable skill of all. That night, Jard and Leora sat together in the palace courtyard, watching the glowing streams and listening to the soft hum of alien music. "Do you ever think about what it means?" Jard asked. "Being here, being part of something bigger than yourself." "All the time," Leora replied. "It is a responsibility and an honor. And you have shown that humans can rise to challenges we never expected. That is why the Queen chose you. That is why I trust you." Jard smiled, feeling a sense of purpose unlike anything he had ever known. "Then I will not fail. I will honor this trust with every action, every decision, and every choice." The stars of Virlia glimmered above, reflecting in the crystal streams below. Jard knew that the trials would continue, that challenges awaited beyond what he had already faced. But he also knew that he was no longer alone. He had allies, he had trust, and he had courage, and with those he could face anything. For the first time, Jard truly understood what it meant to be part of something greater than himself. A bridge between worlds, a symbol of courage, and a human who had earned the respect of an alien queen. The morning on Virlia was quiet, almost deceptively calm. Jard Kellen had spent the night reviewing everything he had learned in the trials. He felt confident in his abilities now, but there was a tension in the palace that he could not ignore. Even Leora seemed uneasy, her silver eyes scanning the corridors with a sharpness that had not been there before. "Something is wrong," she said quietly as they walked toward the training grounds. "I feel it in the air. Some nobles are not satisfied with the Queen's decisions." "They are unhappy with your presence here," Jard frowned. "Do you think it is dangerous?" Leora hesitated. "Not yet, but it could be. You have proven yourself, Jard, but not everyone values courage and wisdom. Some only value power." As they approached the training grounds, Jard noticed a group of nobles gathered near the edge of the palace courtyard. They spoke in low, urgent tones, glancing toward the Queen's chambers. Leora's expression tightened. "Those are the ones plotting against us. They do not trust you. They see humans as a threat, not a bridge between worlds." Before Jard could ask more, a sudden alarm sounded throughout the palace. Red lights flashed, and a deep, vibrating hum filled the halls. Leora grabbed his arm. "They are attacking," she shouted. "The nobles have conspired to take action. We must move quickly." Jard's heart pounded. He had faced wild predators, alien forests, and moral trials. But now the danger was direct, calculated, and human ingenuity would be tested to its fullest. Leora led him through secret corridors, hidden paths she had learned as a child. "They want to capture me," she explained. "If they succeed, the Queen's authority will be undermined and the trust we have built could be destroyed. We cannot let that happen." They reached a balcony overlooking the main hall. Jard saw armed guards surrounding the chamber, moving with precision and silent determination. It was clear that this was no random act of rebellion. The nobles had planned this carefully. "We need a plan," Jard said, his mind racing. "We can't fight them all head-on. There has to be a way to use their arrogance against them." Leora nodded. "Follow me. I know a passage that leads beneath the palace. If we can reach the armory, we can get tools to defend ourselves and alert the Queen's loyal guards." The hidden passage was narrow, dimly lit by glowing crystals embedded in the walls. Jard moved cautiously, trying not to trip on the uneven floor. Every sound seemed amplified, every shadow suspicious. Leora led the way, her senses clearly sharper in this environment than his human instincts could manage. As they emerged near the armory, Jard noticed several weapons and devices unfamiliar to him. Energy blades, defensive shields, and pulse devices lined the walls. Leora quickly explained how to use each, but there was little time for practice. "We must act now," she said. "The conspirators are moving faster than expected." They armed themselves and made their way toward the central hall. Jard felt his pulse quicken. This was not a trial or a test. This was life and death, and he knew that failure could mean not just their lives, but the collapse of trust between humans and Virelians. As they entered the hall, chaos erupted. The conspirators had already cornered some of the palace guards, their energy weapons glowing ominously. Jard's mind worked quickly. He remembered the strategies he had used in the forest, combining distraction, observation, and quick action. He grabbed a reflective panel from the wall and angled it toward the light, blinding the nearest group of attackers. Leora moved silently, disabling another with a pulse device. Together, they were a team, human ingenuity and Virelian skill working in perfect harmony. One of the lead conspirators, a tall noble with glowing blue eyes, approached Jard with a sneer. "You think you can stop us, human?" he hissed. "Your kind has no place here." Jard stood firm. "I may be human, but courage, intelligence, and loyalty are not limited to one species. You underestimate what we can do together." The noble lunged with a weapon, but Jard ducked, rolling to the side and using a pulse device to disable the attacker temporarily. Leora struck with precision, knocking the weapon from the noble's hands. The tide of the battle began to turn. Other conspirators hesitated as they saw the pair's coordination. Jard realized that morale was as important as skill. He shouted to the palace guards, "Now, move in together, protect the queen." The loyal guards, inspired by Jard's bravery, surged forward, overwhelming the conspirators. Energy weapons clashed, shields activated, and the hall was filled with the hum of power and determination. In the midst of the chaos, Jard noticed that Leora had been cornered near the queen's chamber. A group of conspirators had surrounded her, intent on capturing her alive. Without thinking, Jard sprinted toward her, dodging attacks and using every device at his disposal. "Jard," Leora called, her voice steady but urgent. "You cannot face them alone. I won't let them take you," he shouted back. He reached her just as a noble raised a weapon to strike. Jard used the pulse device, sending a shockwave that disabled the attackers long enough to pull Leora to safety. They ran together through a side corridor, their breathing heavy, hearts pounding. Once they were in a secure room, Leora looked at him, her silver eyes filled with gratitude and admiration. "You risked yourself for me again," she said softly. I don't know how to thank you." Jard shook his head. "You don't need to thank me. We are a team. We protect each other. That is what trust means." They quickly regrouped and alerted the queen's loyalists, who moved decisively to reclaim the palace. Within hours, the conspirators were captured or fled, and order was restored. Queen Thalira appeared, her expression both proud and solemn. "You have done more than survive," she said, her voice calm but powerful. "You have proven that humanity can act with courage, wisdom, and loyalty. Your actions today will be remembered in Virelian history." Jard bowed, exhausted but relieved. "I did what I had to, Your Majesty, for your daughter, for your people, and for our worlds." Thalira's gaze softened as she looked at Leora. "And you, my daughter, have shown wisdom and skill. Together, you have demonstrated that trust can overcome even the darkest schemes." Leora smiled faintly, looking at Jard. "We make a good team," she said quietly. "Yes," Jard agreed, feeling a sense of pride and connection. "We do." The queen turned to address the court. "Let this day be remembered not as a day of fear, but as a day of courage. Let it be known that humans, when guided by wisdom and bravery, are allies to be trusted. Let it be known that trust and partnership can overcome treachery and fear." As the court erupted in applause and approval, Jard realized that this battle had changed everything. He had not only survived a conspiracy designed to destroy him, but he had also proven that humans could earn respect and trust in a world far beyond Earth. That night, as Jard and Leora walked through the glowing gardens, the twin moons of Virelia casting silver light over the crystal streams, Leora spoke softly. "Today was more than a test of strength. It was a test of heart, of courage, and of understanding. You passed, Jard." "You truly passed." Jard looked at her, feeling the weight of responsibility and pride. I will continue to prove myself, not just for you, but for both our worlds. Humans are capable of more than we know, and I will show it. Leora smiled, placing a hand on his arm. Then we face the future together. Whatever comes, we will meet it side by side. As they stood together under the alien sky, Jard understood that the challenges were far from over. There would be more tests, more trials, and perhaps greater dangers ahead. But he also knew that courage, intelligence, and trust were universal strengths, qualities that could bridge even the widest gaps between worlds. And for the first time, he felt that he was truly part of something larger than himself, a human who had earned the respect of an alien queen, the trust of her daughter, and the chance to shape the future of two civilizations. The stars above Vyrlia shimmered like diamonds, and Jard knew that no matter what trials awaited him next, he would face them with courage, wisdom, and the support of allies he could trust. The day of the final ceremony dawned over Vyrlia with a sky of gold and violet hues. Jard Kellen stood on the palace balcony, overlooking the expansive courtyard. For weeks, he had trained, learned, and faced trials unlike anything he had ever imagined. Today, all of that would come together. Today, he would not only be recognized for his courage, but he would also solidify a bond that could unite two worlds. Leora approached, her silver eyes shining with anticipation. Her elegant robes shimmered in the alien sunlight, and her presence seemed to calm the swirling tension in Jard's chest. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. Jard took a deep breath. "I am ready, more than I've ever been." "I just hope I can honor this for you, for your people, and for mine," Leora smiled. "You already have, Jard. You have shown courage, wisdom, and heart. Today is just a celebration of what has already been proven." The palace gates opened, revealing the gathered nobles, guards, and citizens of Vyrlia. From every corner, alien eyes watched as the human and Vyrlian walked together. The queen, Thalira, took her place at the center, her expression both regal and approving. "Today," she began, her voice carrying across the courtyard, "we witness an event that is more than a ceremony. It is a symbol of trust, courage, and unity. Jard Kellen, you have proven yourself in trials of strength, wisdom, and loyalty. You have faced dangers, moral challenges, and conspiracies, and you have done so with honor." Jard's heart pounded as the queen's words echoed through the courtyard. He glanced at Leora, who gave him a reassuring nod. "Leora," the queen continued, "you have grown in wisdom, courage, and understanding. Together, you will lead your people and build a bridge between humans and Vyrlians that will last for generations." The ceremony moved forward. Jard and Leora stood side by side before the queen. She raised her hands, and a soft glow surrounded the two of them. "By the authority of Vyrlia, I declare your bond recognized. Let your partnership symbolize unity, respect, and mutual courage." Jard felt a warmth spread through him, not from the light, but from the knowledge that he had earned this trust, this place among an alien civilization. Leora's hand brushed against his, and for a moment, words were unnecessary. Their eyes met, communicating trust, respect, and a shared determination to face the future together. As the queen stepped back, Jard addressed the assembled crowd. "I am honored to stand here not only as a human, but as a friend to your people. I have learned that courage, understanding, and compassion are not limited to any one species. Together, we can achieve far more than we can alone." The crowd murmured in approval, and even some of the previously skeptical nobles inclined their heads. Jard's words, simple yet true, had begun to change hearts. After the public ceremony, the queen led Jard and Leora to the central council chamber. This was where the real work of partnership would begin. Jard was to participate in discussions regarding trade, technology sharing, and collaborative defense strategies. Leora stayed close, offering guidance on Vyrlian protocol and language nuances. Jard quickly realized that diplomacy was just another kind of trial, one that required patience, observation, and creative thinking. He listened carefully, asked insightful questions, and proposed solutions that combined human and Vyrlian ingenuity. The council members, initially cautious, began to see the value of his perspective. One of the elder nobles, who had been particularly resistant to Jard's presence, spoke after a long discussion. "Perhaps we underestimated humans. Jard Kellen has shown courage in the wild, wisdom in moral trials, and insight in council. His presence may indeed benefit Vyrlia." Jard bowed respectfully. "Thank you. I am here to learn, to contribute, and to build a future together, not to dominate but to collaborate." The elder nodded. Then let it be so. Let this partnership guide our decisions moving forward. Outside the council chamber, Jard and Leora walked through the palace gardens. The twin moons of Violia hung low in the sky, casting silver light across the streams and flowers. Jard felt a sense of peace he had never known. He had survived danger, faced moral challenges, and navigated political intrigue. Now he could focus on building a future, one based on trust, courage, and partnership. "Do you realize what this means?" Jard asked, breaking the silence. "Humans and Violians working together, sharing knowledge, protecting each other. It's bigger than anything I imagined." Leora nodded, her hand brushing his. "It is, and it will not always be easy. There will be challenges, differences in culture, and disagreements, but together we can face them. You have proven that courage and wisdom can bridge even the widest gaps." Jard smiled. "I'm ready to try." Over the next few weeks, Jard immersed himself in Violian culture. He learned their language, their technology, and their traditions. Leora was his guide, and together they explored the depths of the palace, the forests, and the crystal rivers. Jard discovered innovations that combined science and natural energy in ways humans had never imagined. He shared human technology in return, careful to respect the Violians' traditions and laws. Their partnership grew stronger with every shared challenge. Jard learned patience, observation, and diplomacy. Leora learned to trust not only his courage, but his judgment and loyalty. Together, they became a symbol of what was possible when two worlds worked as one. One evening, as they stood on a cliff overlooking the glowing rivers, Jard reflected on everything that had happened. From the moment he had rescued Leora in the forest, to the trials, the conspiracy, and the final ceremony, his life had changed completely. "You've changed a lot, Jard," Leora said, breaking the silence. "Not just in skill, but in how you see the world." Jard looked at her, smiling faintly. "I think I've learned that courage is not just about fighting or risking your life. It's about standing for what's right, making difficult choices, and earning trust. And sometimes, it's about trusting others in return." Leora's eyes softened. "Then you are truly ready to build the future we imagined." The days turned into weeks, and Jard continued to prove himself as a capable partner to Leora. Together, they oversaw joint projects between humans and Violians, new energy sources, improved medical technologies, and collaborative defense systems to protect both species from potential threats. Word of Jard's courage and wisdom spread beyond Violia. Human diplomats arrived, eager to learn from him and establish formal relations with the planet. Jard acted as a bridge, guiding them with insight he had gained through trials, danger, and partnership. One afternoon, as they walked through the palace gardens, Leora spoke quietly. "Do you ever think about what it all started with?" Jard smiled. "Yes, a forest, a dangerous predator, and a decision to risk my life for someone else. I never imagined it would lead to this, an alliance between worlds and a friendship that could change the course of history." Leora's hand rested on his arm. "And it all began because you acted with courage, not knowing what would happen next. That is what makes humans extraordinary." Jard looked at her, feeling the weight and joy of the journey they had shared. "I only did what I had to, but together we've done more than I ever could alone." As the twin moons of Violia rose high in the sky, their light reflected in the crystal streams below. Jard knew that life would never be ordinary again. He had faced danger, trials, and betrayal, but he had also found trust, friendship, and purpose. He was no longer just a human on an alien world. He was a partner, a symbol, and a bridge between civilizations. That night, as the palace settled into quiet, Jard and Leora stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The soft glow of Violia's technology and natural beauty spread before them like a living tapestry. They spoke little, for words were unnecessary. Their journey had forged a bond that was stronger than any trial, deeper than any danger, and more meaningful than either could have imagined. Jard realized that courage, wisdom, and trust were universal. They were the qualities that allowed humans to survive and thrive, not just on Earth, but among the stars. And as he stood beside Leora, looking at the glowing world before them, he knew that together they could face anything that the universe might bring. For the first time, Jard felt the full weight of what he had accomplished. A single act of courage, rescuing Leora, had sparked a chain of events that united two worlds. And now, with trust, friendship, and partnership, humans and Violians were poised to explore the possibilities of the future together. And so, under the shimmering skies of Virlia, the human and the Virlian began a new chapter, not just as allies, but as symbols of what courage, loyalty, and understanding could achieve across the galaxy.